you describe for us what is taking place in that community?
I can tell you that basically what we've seen so far, I mean, just the images really tell the story. I think that when all is said and done, they're definitely at a point that the damage caused by tornadoes rather than straight line winds, and of course, we have to wait for the official word. But I'll tell you, it is amazing. This is the second deadly, possibly tornadic event in Alabama in less than a year. You know, the last one, of course, being back in April that affected communities just to the west of Birmingham, Alabama, and of course, Tuscaloosa. As you mentioned, we've got damage across 7 counties, including the communities of Clay, Centerpoint, Trustful, Oak Grove. The 2 fatalities that we know of are a 16-year-old boy who lost his life in Clay, and the 8-year-old male lost his life in Oak Grove. As you can imagine, structural damage all over the place. We've got widespread power outages across the state, but that communication is very limited. Got a lot of telephone lines that are down. A lot of cell towers have been damaged also. So communication is very difficult to spread across these communities. Family members are having a very difficult time getting in touch with each other. I can tell you that Jefferson County schools have been closed. That's the big county right here in the middle of the state of Alabama, near Birmingham. Many side streets, many back roads have been blocked, many trees into some of those telephone poles. There have been a lot of injuries, too. In fact, Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, Suzanne, has told us that there are at least 100 injuries. Some of them scrapes, bruises, a few of them are more serious. And I would not be surprised if that number go up as we make our way through the afternoon, evening, and into tomorrow.
Reynolds, I want to bring in Chad. He's here. He's been monitoring the situation from our studios. Chad, you want to weigh in here?
Reynolds, we know about the fatalities already, but are you still seeing rescues happen? Are you still seeing firefighters trying to break into literally half-obliterated homes? Are they still trying to find missing people?
Has that happened? Absolutely, because you have to remember, in this part of the state, it's very, very heavily wooded. You know, if you head in, I have to say this coming from a guy who's from the state of Alabama. If you're in Montgomery or even in the southern half of the state, things actually flatten out a bit. There are some places where it's almost like a rolling prairie. In this part of the state of Alabama, you have a lot of rolling hills, heavily wooded areas. So because of the strong winds that came through due to those possible tornadoes, a lot of roads are blocked. A lot of homes have received some structural damage. So, yes, Chad, there are people that are going to be breaking into these structures, trying to find possible people trapped, survivors, of course. But, of course, there's always the grim reality that you might find more fatalities, which is certainly the last thing any of us want to have happen.
You covered the F4 and F5 tornadoes last year in April. Does this look anything like it, or is it a completely different situation?
If you're thinking about this in kind of a micro scale sort of thing, absolutely. I mean, if you look block to block, it certainly does resemble it to some extent. But, I mean, you compare it to the damage we saw on McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa last year, that was just incomprehensible. I've never seen anything quite that devastating. It is certainly bad, but in terms of the whole scope of damage, I would say it's a different category. Not quite as bad, but again, you can't put a price on the lives lost, no question. 2 now. We hope the number doesn't rise, Chad.
Be careful out there, Reynolds. There are boards, there are nails, the people out there that are even trying to find loved ones. There's just stuff scattered everywhere that can hurt more people even after the storm than during the storm. I've been there on hurricanes and tornadoes, and there's just stuff laying over there, and it could hurt you. So be careful if you're in Alabama trying